Hello. Hi. So as you can see from the title of the video, I'll just try and keep this short and as concise as I can make it. The reason why Iruma, I personally believe, is way better than anything Luffy written by Oda has ever and will ever be is basically you can see in a side-by-side comparison of their own hero's journey. Luffy and Iruma both started chapter 1 of their respective stories being extraordinary. And that's not a fact to be debated. That is absolutely set in stone. When Luffy first blasted his high bounty adversary in Alvida in the original story, original chapter, and Iruma completely destroying the strongest of the first years in Asmodeus Alice in the very first chapter. Both of them proved themselves to be exceptionally extraordinary as compared to their contemporaries. However, that's where their similarities end. Luffy would go on from there to basically just get more and more powerful when it makes absolutely no sense, regardless of whatever story or whatever situation he gets himself into. Oda always just gives him more and more and more Deus Ex power-ups while completely nerfing every last bit of IQ and powers from his foe and his adversaries. And the few times they ever win, if ever at all, it's all only done pretty much to try and artificially inflate the tension and drama of a story up. Because as soon as they go for the climax of the fight and the conflict itself, those very same adversaries who up until that point had proven themselves to be even more extraordinary and even more powerful and more special than the main protagonist themselves immediately loses every last one of the very same thing that provably makes them special, just so they can be used as cannon fodder for Luffy to show off himself more and more and more. Whereas the approach Iruma's author takes with him is that Iruma is only ever showing himself to be extraordinary against his own contemporaries in his own class and level. He is to be shown right against anybody else who even outclass him a little. He is proven to be unable to really match up and surpass them. Sure, you could say he does for certain challenges and against like those who are really strong. He does prove himself worthy of his specialness. However, when they really get down to it and be serious or even take things a little bit much more seriously and less slacking about or just goofing around, they completely wipe the floor with Iruma and all of his friends, his contemporaries, every last one of them. Doesn't matter who it is, doesn't matter if it's his classmate, his upperclassmen, doesn't matter if it's anybody who's like around his level or just a little bit higher. All of them get completely smoked the moment they come across anybody who's even a little bit much more extraordinary than themselves. Let alone the fact when they actually come up against the big wigs and the big cheeses. And we're not even talking about the actual really powerful. We're talking about just the kind of like mid-tiers, those who are like only marginally, if you really want to take a look at this, compared themselves, in terms of power, none could already match up against those. For example, the likes of Momonoki or, other teachers who are rank 7. Iruma himself is rank 5. He's only 2 ranks removed from the teachers. But what happened when he went up against any of the teachers who had already severely handicapped themselves. He and his friends got their ass immediately kicked. 11-1. That was the entire combat force against a single teacher. And they were already struggling, let alone when they were facing 2 or 3. And all of them were severely handicapping themselves. If it was Luffy in the same situation as Iruma, he would have completely smoked every last one of them. There would have been nobody who could have come up and match him. Which is why I say when it comes down to it, Luffy is written as the ultimate Gary Stu, which makes the story exceptionally unfun. And it makes him a horrendous protagonist when he's not being presented as a Gary Stu, but rather as a typical shonen protagonist. At the very least, whatever dislike I have for SAO and Kirito, I still say he's a much better written protagonist in a much better written story than One Piece is. Which is really sad, as Oda really screwed the pooch and failed to land the Wano arc and Luffy as a whole, as compared to how Iruma and his story continues to get better and better and better and better and better. And I just can't say more good things about Iruma because he is just that good. So anyway, thank you for listening to my rant, and I hope to be able to see you in my next video. Thank you, and bye-bye.